Over the weekend, two very different scenes unfolded in America. One happened behind closed doors in filings and footnotes and an emergency request to the Supreme Court, and the other played out in the streets, loud, visible, and defiant. So on Friday, the Trump administration asked the court to lift a block on deploying federalized National Guard troops in Illinois. The case stems from rising tensions around immigration enforcement in the Chicago area. The administration says prolonged violence against immigration officers and federal property demands military support, but a district judge had paused the deployment, saying the government hadn't shown a rebellion or that regular forces couldn't execute the law. An appeals court allowed the Guard to be federalized, but kept the actual deployment on hold. That's what the administration is now asking the Supreme Court to reverse. And Justice Amy Coney Barrett set a 5 p.m. Monday, today, deadline for the state to respond. So a ruling could come at any moment, but at time of filming, it's not yet here. And the same weekend, something else happened. Millions of people across the U.S. joined rallies under the banner, No Kings. Their message was aimed directly at what they see as a presidency growing more authoritarian, which is stretching the limits of power and bending the rules of accountability. Civil liberties groups warned that these protesters might be digitally tracked through facial recognition, drones, or phone tracking tech like cell site simulators. It's a familiar concern now that just showing up at a protest might leave you tagged in a database somewhere. Most protests were peaceful, though some cities did see arrests. In LA, one person was taken in after police declared an unlawful assembly. In Denver, a dozen people were detained. ICE said the First Amendment protects peaceful assembly, not rioting. ICE is very familiar with the Constitution, if you can't tell. Now, you could treat these as separate headlines. A legal fight over National Guard authority in one place, and a protest about executive power in another. But taken together, they force us to look more closely at the balance between order and consent, between public safety and civic freedom. Who gets to decide when dissent becomes danger, and who holds the power to define rebellion? The founders wrestled with that too. Hamilton warned that standing armies could erode liberty, and Madison feared war and internal suppression would concentrate power in the presidency. Even Washington, when faced with the Whiskey Rebellion, took careful steps before calling up the militia, issuing a proclamation, and getting judicial approval, and sending a peace commission. We like to believe our system has safeguards, but the tools of state power have changed. It's not just troops anymore. It's surveillance towers and automated scans and algorithms deciding who's a threat. And when those tools are aimed inward at protests, on cities, on dissent, we have to ask, are we steering this democracy or is it quietly steering us? So I'll leave you with this. In a country founded on the rejection of kings, where should we draw the line between protecting the peace and suppressing the people? Oh, and if you had to draw a line yourself, would it protect the kind of dissent you disagree with? Because that answer is the measure of your liberty.